husband was chuckling as he signed our divorce papers, but when the judge revealed my empire's worth, his smug grin turned to stone-cold shock. I'm standing in a Seattle courtroom, the kind you see in legal dramas where the air feels thick with secrets and the wood paneling screams old money. My heart's pounding like a bass drum at a Nirvana reunion, but I keep my face stone-cold neutral. Sprawled across the room, my husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, Nathan Caldwell, tech VP and poster boy for Seattle's elite, is signing our divorce papers with a smirk that could curdle milk. He's got that smug, "I've already won" look, pen gliding over the page like he's autographing a fan's t-shirt. The courtroom's packed, reporters, tech bros, even a few of his cronies from the cloud computing firm he runs like his personal fiefdom. They're all here to watch Nathan stick it to the small-town girl from Ohio who dared to think she could play in his league. What Nathan doesn't know, what nobody knows, is that I've got a bombshell tucked in my lawyer's briefcase, a financial disclosure that's about to blow his carefully curated world to smithereens. My hands are steady, but inside I'm a live wire, buzzing with the kind of adrenaline you get when you're about to flip the script on someone who's underestimated you for years. Nathan thinks I'm just his trophy wife, a Midwest nobody he plucked from obscurity to polish his image. He's wrong, dead wrong, and in about 10 minutes when the judge reads my net worth, that smirk is gonna vanish faster than a tech startup in a stock market crash. Let me back up. I'm Eleanor Harper, Ellie to anyone who's not trying to sell me something or sue me. I'm 34, born and raised in a working-class suburb of Dayton, Ohio, where the biggest dream was landing a union job at the GM plant before it shuttered. My parents weren't rich. Dad fixed HVAC systems, Mom waitressed at a diner, but they drilled two things into me. Work hard and don't trust anyone who flashes cash like a neon sign. I was the kid who sold homemade bracelets at the county fair to save for college, dreaming of a life bigger than strip malls and potlucks. Seattle was my shot. I got a partial scholarship to the University of Washington, studied marketing, and fell in love with the city's grit and glitz. The coffee shops, the tech buzz, the way Puget Sound sparkled like it was daring you to make something of yourself. I landed a job as a marketing coordinator at a mid-sized Seattle startup, pulling $60,000, 0 cents a year, which felt like a fortune until I saw what the tech elite were spending on artisanal lattes. I loved the work, crafting social media campaigns, tweaking ad copy, watching analytics light up like a slot machine when I nailed a strategy. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine, a piece of the world I'd carved out with my own hustle. That's where I was, grinding away, when I met Nathan. It was at a tech conference fundraiser for STEM education, one of those events where everyone's pretending to care about kids while networking over $20 0 cents cocktails. I was volunteering, designing posters and banners for free because I believed in the cause and, okay, maybe I wanted to rub elbows with Seattle's big dogs. Nathan was there, all 6'2" of him, in a tailored suit that probably cost more than my car. He was a VP at Cloud Peak Solutions, a cloud computing firm that powered half the apps on your phone. The man oozed charisma. Think Chris Hemsworth with a Rolex and a MBA. When he walked into the room, heads turned, and I swear the air shifted like he was sucking up all the oxygen. He caught my eye while I was adjusting a banner, my hands smudged with marker from a last-minute fix. "You don't look like you belong in this room," he said, voice smooth as bourbon, a half-smile playing on his lips. I froze, not sure if it was a compliment or a dig. Looking back, it was both. A test to see if I'd shrink or bite back. I laughed, tossed my hair, and said, "Good. I'd hate to blend in with all this fleece and flannel, Seattle's tech uniform, Patagonia vests, and sensible shoes. Wasn't my vibe." He chuckled, and just like that, we were talking. About the fundraiser, the city, my job, His eyes locked on mine like I was the only person in the room, and damn, it felt good. That was the start of it, a whirlwind that swept me off my feet faster than you can say tech bro. Nathan was a force of nature. Private yacht dinners on Lake Washington, weekend getaways to Napa Valley, invites to penthouse parties where the guest list read like a Forbes 30 under 30. I was dazzled, no lie. I'd grown up eating hamburger helper. Now I was sipping Dom Perignon on a rooftop overlooking the Space Needle. But even in those early days, there were cracks. Nathan had a way of making me feel like a diamond he'd polished himself, like I was nothing before he came along. "You're lucky I found you," he'd say, half joking, half not. I brushed it off, chalking it up to his confidence, but my gut knew better. 6 months in, he proposed at a rooftop bar in Belltown, the kind of place where the cocktails have names like Midnight in Cascadia and cost more than my weekly grocery budget. The ring was a stunner, $50,000, 0 cents worth of diamond that caught the light like a disco ball. He'd hired a drone light show to spell out "Marry Me, Ellie" in the sky, and the crowd, strangers mostly, cheered like we were in a rom-com. I said yes, tears in my eyes, swept up in the fairy tale. But even as I hugged him, I caught his mother Victoria watching from the bar. Her lips pursed, like she'd just tasted bad Chardonnay. She didn't clap. The wedding was my first real clash with Nathan's world. I wanted something small, intimate. A ceremony in a rustic vineyard in Woodinville with fairy lights and a playlist of Fleetwood Mac and the Lumineers. Nathan's family, especially Victoria, had other ideas. She pushed for a 500-guest extravaganza at the Four Seasons, complete with a string quartet and a menu featuring Wagyu beef and truffle foam. "You can't embarrass Nathan with some backyard barbecue," she said, her voice dripping with East Coast prep school disdain. I held my ground, and we compromised on a smaller vineyard wedding. But Victoria's jab at the rehearsal dinner, Nathan's charity case finally gets her day, cut deeper than I let on. My parents, in their J.C. Penney best, overheard and said nothing, but I saw the hurt in Mom's eyes. We moved into Nathan's Belltown penthouse, a glass and steel palace with views of Puget Sound that made my old Capitol Hill studio look like a broom closet. It was sleek, modern, all sharp edges and minimalist furniture that screamed I have money and taste. I tried to make it ours, hung a thrift store painting of a rainy Seattle street, added a quilt my grandma made. Nathan vetoed them. "Babe, this place is curated," he said, like I'd suggested painting the walls neon green. "Let's keep it classy." Classy, I learned, meant cold. No personality, just status. That's when the control started creeping in, slow at first, like fog rolling off the sound. Nathan had opinions on everything. My clothes. That dress screams Target. My friends, they're a bit basic, don't you think? My job. Why stress over pennies when I've got us covered? He wanted me to quit, to trade my marketing gig for a life of Lululemon leggings and charity boards, the standard tech wife package. I loved my work. The thrill of a viral campaign, the puzzle of cracking a client's target audience. My $60,000 0 cents salary was chump change compared to Nathan's 7-figure bonuses, but it was mine. Proof I wasn't just his arm candy. He didn't get it. "You're burning yourself out for what? A pat on the back from some startup nobody?" he'd say, sipping a $200 0 cents bottle of Cabernet while I worked late on my laptop. I'd smile, change the subject, but his words stung, each one chipping away at the Ellie who'd clawed her way out of Ohio. I started to feel like a guest in my own life, tiptoeing around his expectations. At tech galas, his colleagues' wives, draped in Gucci and Botox, whispered about my Midwest frumpiness, their smiles as fake as their eyelashes. I overheard one, a Pilates instructor with a Birkin bag, call me Nathan's fixer-upper at a fundraiser. I wanted to throw my drink in her face, but I sipped my wine and played nice, the way Nathan liked. The first real scare came a month after our first anniversary. I'd gone to a networking event at a co-working space in Pioneer Square, hoping to pitch my marketing skills to local startups. It was a big deal for me, a chance to build my own contacts, not just ride Nathan's coattails. I parked my beat-up Honda Civic a block away, and when I came back, all 4 tires were slashed, the rubber shredded like someone had taken a hunting knife to them. Tucked under the windshield wiper was a note, scrawled in black marker, "Stay in your lane." My stomach dropped. I looked around, half expecting someone to jump out of the shadows, but the street was empty, just the hum of late-night traffic and the glow of neon signs. I called a tow truck, my hands shaking as I dialed. Was it random? A prank? Or was it Nathan's world sending me a message? His friends, his family, even his assistant, they all had this way of looking at me, like I was a temporary fixture, a placeholder until Nathan traded up. I didn't tell him about the tires. He'd probably say I parked in a sketchy area, turn it into another lecture about how I didn't belong in his orbit. Instead, I paid $800, 0 cents for new tires out of my own account, wincing at the dent in my savings. But that note, "Stay in your lane," stuck with me, a warning I couldn't shake. Nathan's control tightened like a vise. He linked our bank accounts, insisting it was easier for taxes, but then he started questioning every purchase. A $100 0-cent subscription for marketing software? Do you really need that, Ellie? Seems like a waste. Meanwhile, he'd drop $20,000 0 cents on a vintage Harley without blinking, parking it in our building's private garage next to his Tesla. He'd roll his eyes when I mentioned visiting my parents in Ohio. Why bother? It's just cornfields and dive bars. And made it clear my college friends, with their flannel shirts and craft beer obsessions, weren't welcome in our penthouse. "They're not our kind of people," he'd say, like I was supposed to ditch everyone who'd known me before him. The isolation hit hard. I used to have game nights with my UW buddies, pizza, Cards Against Humanity, laughing until my sides hurt. Now my social life was Nathan's calendar, tech mixers, yacht parties, dinners where the conversation was all stock options and ski chalets. I was losing myself piece by piece, morphing into the Ellie he wanted, quiet, polished, agreeable. But there was still a spark in me, a stubborn streak that refused to die. It flared up at work, where I'd started diving into data-driven marketing, social media analytics, /B testing, the nerdy stuff that made my brain hum. I was good at it, damn good, and my boss noticed, giving me bigger projects, more responsibility. Nathan? He laughed when I told him, "You're not cut out for the big leagues, babe. Stick to your little campaigns." That's when I snapped. Not outwardly, not yet, but inside, something shifted. I was done being his project, his before picture in a makeover montage. I started planning quietly, carefully. I opened a secret savings account at a credit union Nathan didn't know about, funneling $200 0 cents a month from my paycheck, small enough he wouldn't notice, big enough to feel like a lifeline. I'd log into it late at night, after he was asleep, watching the balance creep up. $500, 0 cents. $1,000, 0 cents. $2,000, 0 cents. It wasn't much, but it was mine. A tiny rebellion against his control. I threw myself into learning, too. Stuff Nathan would have scoffed at. Using incognito tabs on my laptop, I binged free online courses on SEO, investing, entrepreneurship. I read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and The Lean Startup, hiding them in my gym bag like contraband. I subscribed to newsletters about tech trends, angel investing, anything that could give me an edge. I wasn't just dreaming anymore. I was building a plan, a way out of the gilded cage Nathan had locked me in. The real turning point came at a Capitol Hill coffee shop, one of those indie spots with exposed brick and baristas who look like they're auditioning for a Wes Anderson film. I was working on a freelance pitch, trying to drum up side gigs to pad my secret fund, when I overheard a woman at the next table venting. Her name was Mia Torres, and she ran a food truck specializing in fusion tacos. Think kimchi, carnitas, and sriracha aioli. She was complaining to a friend about the insane quotes she'd gotten from marketing agencies. $5,000, 0 cents for a basic social media campaign. "I can't afford that," Mia said, her voice tight. "But without it, I'm toast against these corporate chains." I don't know what possessed me. Maybe it was the caffeine, maybe it was the spark I'd been nursing, but I leaned over and said, "I'm Ellie. I do marketing. I could help you for $500, 0 cents, build you a campaign that'll crush it." Mia looked at me like I'd offered to sell her a bridge, but she was desperate. We talked for an hour, and by the end, she'd hired me. My first client. I threw everything into that campaign. Targeted Instagram ads, a viral TikTok challenge, a killer email blast. Within a month, Mia's truck was mobbed, her followers up 400%, her revenue doubled. She hugged me outside her truck, tears in her eyes, and said, "You're a freaking wizard, Ellie." Mia wasn't just a client. She became my lifeline, my friend. The first person in Seattle who saw me for me, not Nathan's appendage. Over beers at a dive bar, she'd tell me about her own hustle, growing up in a big Mexican-American family in Tacoma, fighting to make her food truck dream work. "You've got a gift," she told me one night, her voice serious. "You make small businesses feel big, like they matter." Her words lit a fire in me. I wasn't just good at marketing. I was building something, a future Nathan couldn't touch. But Nathan's world wasn't done with me. A week after Mia's campaign went viral, I got hit again, harder this time. I was working late in the penthouse, in a storage closet I'd turned into a makeshift office. Noise, canceling headphones, a folding table, a laptop glowing in the dark. I'd just sent a proposal to a Fremont brewery when my screen froze, then flashed with a red warning. System compromise. My files. Client contracts, campaign drafts, my entire portfolio were leaking online, posted to a shady forum I'd never heard of. My heart stopped. This wasn't a glitch. It was a hack, deliberate and vicious. I spent all night scrubbing the internet, contacting clients, begging them not to pull out. Most stayed thanks to Mia's vouching, but the damage was done. I was shaken, paranoid, wondering if Nathan was behind it. He'd made snide comments about my little side hustle. Had he hired someone to sabotage me? I didn't confront him. I couldn't, not yet. Instead, I doubled down, registering Harper Digital Strategies as an LLC, building a sleek website to showcase my work. Mia's referrals brought in more clients. A Tacoma boutique, a Crackland yoga studio, even a craft distillery in Ballard. I reinvested every penny into better software, a virtual assistant, anything to scale up. I was running a 6-figure business from a closet, playing the perfect tech wife by day, smiling at Nathan's galas, nodding at his colleagues' dumb jokes, while building an empire by night. It was exhausting, exhilarating, terrifying. Every client call, every deposit to my secret account was a step toward freedom. Then came the gala that changed everything. It was at a waterfront mansion in Medina, hosted by one of Nathan's investors. The place was obscene. Marble floors, a chandelier the size of my car, waiters circling with caviar canapes. I was in a borrowed designer dress, feeling like an imposter, when Nathan took the mic to thank the host. He was all charm, cracking jokes about Seattle's tech boom, until he turned to me. "And here's my wife, Ellie," he said, grinning. "My charity project turned Cinderella. Gotta love a fixer-upper, right? The room laughed, a sharp, cruel sound that hit me like a slap. I stood there, smile frozen, as his colleagues' wives smirked and whispered. I wanted to scream, to throw my champagne flute at his smug face, but I didn't. I laughed along, playing the part, while inside I was done. That night I lay awake next to Nathan, his snores filling the penthouse, and made a vow. I wasn't just going to leave him. I was going to outplay him, outsmart him, make him regret ever underestimating me. The courtroom today, with his smirk and his pen, is the endgame of that vow. But it's not over yet. The judge is about to read my financials, and when she does, Nathan's world is gonna implode. I've got secrets he never saw coming, moves he didn't know I could make. And out there, in Seattle's tech circles, on X, in the blogs, people are already picking sides. Some call me a gold digger, a snake who played the long game. Others see me as the underdog who beat the system. Let them talk. I'm Ellie Harper, and I'm just getting started. The courtroom's still buzzing in my head as I step out into Seattle's gray drizzle, the kind that clings to your skin like a bad memory. Nathan's smirk, that cocky flourish of his pen signing our divorce papers. It's burned into my brain, but it's the look he didn't give me that stings. He didn't even glance my way, like I was already a footnote in his glittering tech empire. I'm Ellie Harper, the Ohio nobody he thought he'd steamroll, and I'm about to turn his world upside down, but right now, standing on the courthouse steps, my navy blazer dampening in the mist, I feel the weight of what's coming. This isn't just a divorce. It's a war. And Nathan Caldwell doesn't lose gracefully. I pull my phone from my purse, checking for messages from Mia, my food truck running lifeline, or Lauren, the ex-Amazon exec who's been schooling me on playing the big leagues. Nothing yet, just a notification from X, a thread about our divorce already trending, split between tech bros calling me a gold-digging leech and women cheering me as the comeback queen. The comments sting, but they also fuel me. Let them talk. They don't know the half of what I've been through, or what I've built in the shadows of Nathan's ego. I'm halfway to my car when I hear heels clicking behind me, sharp and deliberate, like a predator stalking prey. I turn, and there's Victoria Caldwell, Nathan's mother, her silver blonde bob impeccable under a Burberry umbrella. She's all East Coast ice, her eyes slicing through me like I'm a budget spreadsheet she's about to shred. "Elena," she says, her voice low, "we need to talk." My stomach twists, but I keep my face neutral, the way I've learned to when Nathan's world tries to cut me down. "Victoria," I say, matching her tone. "I'm late for a meeting." It's a lie, but I'm not about to let her corner me like some scared intern. She steps closer, her Chanel perfume hitting me like a warning shot. "Your little hobby job," she says, spitting the words like they taste bad. "It's embarrassing, Nathan. You're making a spectacle of yourself and our family. Stop it, or you'll find yourself out of every circle that matters in this city." Her threat lands like a punch, but it's the way she says "our family" that twists the knife. Like I was never part of it, just a temporary guest who overstayed her welcome. I force a smile, the kind I've perfected at Nathan's galas. "Thanks for the advice, Victoria, but I'll manage." I turn to walk away, but her hand grabs my wrist, her grip surprisingly strong for a woman who looks like she lives on kale and Pilates. "You're playing a dangerous game, Eleanor," she whispers, her eyes glinting with something darker than disdain. "Nathan's not the only one with resources." I yank my arm free, my heart racing, and stride to my car without looking back. Her words echo, "dangerous game," and I can't shake the feeling she's not bluffing. That night, alone in the penthouse, I pour a glass of cheap Pinot Grigio. Nathan's wine cellar is all his, and I'm not touching it. The place feels like a museum, all glass and steel, no warmth. I'm scrolling through client emails when my phone buzzes with a notification from our security system. Nathan's got cameras everywhere, linked to his phone, but I hacked the app months ago to keep tabs on him. The alert shows him entering the building, but it's 1 a.m., and he's supposed to be at a client dinner in Portland. My gut churns. I open the app, and there's a text preview from someone labeled K on his phone. Caught by the lobby camera. Last night was wild. Can't wait for round 2. My blood runs cold. It's not proof, not yet, but it's a crack in Nathan's perfect facade, and I'm gonna pry it open. I start tracking him, subtle at first. His late meetings pile up, always on Thursdays, always ending with his Tesla parked outside a trendy Fremont restaurant, the Rusty Anchor, where the cocktails cost more than my weekly grocery run. He comes home reeking of floral perfume, Chloe, I think, not my scent, and brushes it off as, "A client hug, Ellie, don't be paranoid." But I'm not paranoid. I'm awake, and I'm done swallowing his lies. I start noting patterns. The restaurant, the perfume, the way his phone's always face down now. I'm building a case, piece by piece, like a detective in a noir flick, except this is my life. And the stakes are my future. The first real danger hits a week later. I'm tailing Nathan, parked a block from the Rusty Anchor in my Honda Civic, the one he calls a junker, but I love for its reliability. It's 8 p.m., dark, the streetlights casting long shadows. His Tesla pulls up and I see him step out, adjusting his tie, that same smirk from the courtroom. Then a sleek black Audi arrives and out steps a woman. Tall, brunette, in a red dress that screams money. The embrace too close for colleagues, and my hands tremble as I snap photos with my phone. That's when it happens. An unmarked SUV, dark as midnight, roars up behind me and slams into my rear bumper. The jolt throws me forward, my seatbelt biting into my chest. I gasp, spinning to look, but the SUV's already peeling out, taillights vanishing around the corner. My car's dented, my neck stiff, and my heart's hammering like I've just run a marathon. Was it random? Or was someone sending a message? I don't call the cops. Nathan's got friends on the force, and I don't trust them. Instead, I drive home, shaken, paranoia creeping in like ivy. I confront him the next Thursday. No more playing nice. I'm at the Rusty Anchor, sitting in a corner booth, my phone hidden under a napkin, recording. Nathan and the woman, Kristen Lang, his PR director, I've learned, walk in, his hand on her lower back. They're cozy, laughing, oblivious to me until I stand and walk over, my voice ice cold. "This your new client, Nathan? Or just another late meeting?" His face goes white, then red, but Kristen just smirks like she's won something. I snap a photo, the flash catching them mid-embrace, and say, "Smile for the divorce lawyer." The restaurant goes quiet, heads turning, and I feel a rush of power. But it's mixed with rage, betrayal, the kind that makes you want to scream until your throat's raw. Nathan follows me outside, his charm replaced by venom. "You're so obsessed with your boring little job, Ellie," he hisses. "You drove me to this. Kristen's a distraction because you stopped trying." His words are a knife, twisting in the wound of every insecurity he's planted over the years. I want to slap him, to scream that he's the one who broke us. But I don't. I walk away, my photos burning a hole in my phone, evidence of the man I loved, or thought I loved, crumbling into someone I don't recognize. Kristen doesn't waste time. By the next week, whispers are circulating at a tech mixer in Pioneer Square, the kind of event where startup founders pitch ideas over craft IPAs. I'm there, pitching Harper Digital Strategies to a potential client, a Bellevue gym chain, when I overhear Kristen's voice, loud enough to carry. Ellie's unstable, you know. Nathan's been covering for her, but she's a mess. Can't even handle her little freelance gigs. The gym owner's eyes flicker with doubt, and I lose the contract before I can even counter. My business takes a hit. 2 more clients pull back, citing concerns about my reliability. I'm livid, but I can't prove it's Kristen, not yet. She's playing dirty, and I'm starting to realize Nathan's not just a cheater. He's a puppet master, pulling strings I didn't even see. I need help, and I need it fast. Enter Rachel Nguyen, a Seattle divorce attorney with a reputation for gutting rich guys like Nathan in court. I meet her at a coffee shop in Queen Anne, her sharp bob and red lipstick screaming, "Don't mess with me." Over cortados, she lays it out. Nathan's wealth, his connections, they make him a shark, Ellie, but sharks bleed, and we're gonna make him. She tells me to document everything: bank accounts, crypto wallets, offshore trusts. I've been tracking our joint finances for years, but Rachel pushes me to dig deeper. I spend nights combing through statements, using a VPN to hide my searches, and uncover a $10 million 0-cents crypto stash Nathan never mentioned, plus wire transfers to a Cayman Islands account. It's a gold mine, but it's dangerous. If he catches me, I'm toast. The danger escalates when my office closet, my secret command center, is trashed. I come home from a client meeting to find the door ajar, papers shredded, my external hard drive smashed. My heart sinks. Client contracts, campaign plans, years of work, gone, or so I think. Thank God for cloud backups. I spend 48 hours rebuilding, my hands shaking as I upload files, wondering who did this. Nathan? Kristen? Victoria? Or someone they hired? I install a lock on the closet, but the violation lingers, a reminder that I'm not just fighting for money, I'm fighting for my life. The final betrayal comes on our anniversary, of all days. I'm cleaning out Nathan's gym bag, hoping to find laundry and not more lies, when I spot a velvet box tucked in a side pocket. My heart leaps. Maybe he's planning something sweet, a gesture to fix us. I open it, and there's a $30,000 0-cents sapphire necklace, receipt dated a week ago. I've never seen it before. It's not for me. The realization hits like a freight train. He's spending our money, my money too, on Kristen, while I'm scraping by on my secret savings. I'm shaking, tears burning my eyes, but I don't cry. I take a photo of the receipt, add it to my evidence folder, and vow to make him pay. It all comes to a head a week later. I'm supposed to be at a client pitch in Tacoma, but I take a half day, needing a break. I walk into the penthouse, expecting silence, and hear laughter. Nathan's and a woman's. My blood runs cold. I creep toward the bedroom, my phone recording, and there they are, Nathan and Kristen, tangled in an embrace at the foot of our bed, the bed where I've slept alone for months. "Ellie?" Nathan says, not even pulling away. "You're supposed to be at work." His tone is annoyed, like I'm an inconvenience. Kristen smirks, adjusting her blouse. I don't scream. I don't cry. I stand tall, my voice steady. I took a half day. Clearly, I should have called. Nathan straightens his tie, unfazed, and drops the bomb. "I want a divorce, Ellie. Kristen and I are building a future. I'll give you $100,000 0-cents to start over. Generous, considering you've got nothing." His confidence is nauseating, like he's already won. I laugh, a sharp, bitter sound that makes him flinch. "This is my home, too, Nathan. I'm staying. You and Kristen can find a hotel." His face darkens, but Kristen tugs his arm, whispering, "Let's go." As they leave, Nathan turns back, his voice low. "You'll regret this, Ellie. My lawyers will bury you." I lock the door behind them, my legs shaking and sink to the floor. For the first time in months, I let myself cry, not for him, but for the girl I was, the one who thought love meant bending until you break. Then I wipe my face, grab my laptop, and call Rachel. "He's cheating and he's out," I tell her. Let's hit him where it hurts. She's all business, outlining our next steps, reject his pity settlement, demand full financial discovery, and use the prenup clause that protects my business. "Thanks, you're broken, Rachel says. "Let him. We'll blindside him in court." Nathan's next move is predictable, but brutal. His lawyer, a slick corporate type named Greg Sullivan, sends a letter threatening to sue me for defamation over my baseless affair accusations. "Settle now," the letter reads, "or we'll ruin you." Rachel laughs when I show her. "Classic bully tactic," she says. "He's scared, Ellie. Keep digging." But the pressure mounts. Nathan's spinning a narrative in Seattle's tech scene, painting me as a gold digger who seduced him for his money. Mutual friends ghost me. The concierge at our building, once chatty, now avoids my eyes. Even my barista at the corner Starbucks seems colder, like Nathan's lies have poisoned every corner of my life. The worst comes in an email, anonymous, sent from a burner account. "Back off or you're done." No signature, no context, just those 5 words, chilling in their simplicity. I forward it to Rachel, who connects me with a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Mike, who smells like coffee and regret. "Could be Nathan, could be Kristen, could be a hired goon," Mike says, chewing a toothpick. "You're rattling cages, Ellie. Watch your back." I start checking my locks twice, avoiding dark streets, jumping at every shadow. But I don't stop. I can't. My business is my lifeline, and it's booming despite the attacks. A $500,000 0-cents contract with a Portland outdoor retailer, Peak Pulse, changes everything. Their CEO saw my campaign for Mia's food truck on TikTok and wants me to overhaul their digital strategy, social, email, the works. I hire 5 employees, rent a small office in downtown Seattle, and start turning down clients who don't vibe with my mission. It's a risk, but it pays off. Peak Pulse's sales spike 30% in a month, and industry blogs are calling me the secret weapon for small brands. I'm flying high, but Kristen's not done. Her new agency, Lang Media, undercuts my rates and poaches a major client, a Spokane wine